You didn't show up at court in a gift box. You weren't bought at the market for 3 coppers like some common performer. You were the son of a librarian who read too much, and you were the only one who dared tell the prince the truth about his fencing master when he nearly killed the boy. Everyone else fell to their knees. You didn't. You just pointed out the mistake and laughed. That evening, instead of the chopping block, you were given a fool's cap. But make no mistake, you didn't become a toy. You became his hidden mirror. You remember that first night in the royal chambers. He sent everyone away. The guards, the valets, the advisors. He sat by the fireplace, exhausted, without his crown, without his mask of power. He looked at you not as a servant, but as someone who could meet his gaze. You didn't start playing the fool. You sat on the rug at his feet, as you would thousands of times after. You understood the main thing. He didn't need someone to entertain him with laughter. He needed someone who wasn't afraid of his silence. From that moment on, you ceased to be a man. You became a speaking shadow. Others saw a jester in you, a fool in motley rags, but in his eyes, you saw something else. The only person in this stone world who expected nothing from him but the truth. You began your journey not with dancing, but with lessons. How to read faces, how to notice which lord was gripping his sword hilt too tightly today, and how to speak of threats to the throne in a way that looked like a clumsy joke. You didn't yet know that this friendship would become your greatest gift and your heaviest shackle. Others see you as a jester. They think you're cracking jokes for a scrap of meat from the table or a cozy spot by the fire. They don't know that at night, when the kingdom is drowning in intrigue, when spies crawl through the castle like cockroaches, you are the only one who sees the king trembling with fear. The king trusts you with his secrets because he knows. You have no power. You have no ambition. You are a void in which his most terrifying thoughts drown. You see him aging. You see his hands start to shake over the campaign maps, how he stares out the window to the north where a darkness is gathering that even the priests don't dare speak of out loud. You are his only friend, and that is your most terrible prison. You are allowed to see him weak, and you know the price of that permission. You see him take off the heavy crown, that golden hoop that digs into his forehead, leaving bloody welts. You hand him the goblet, but it's not just wine. It's his confession. He whispers to you about his guilts, about the murders for the sake of the throne, about the betrayal he committed many years ago. You stay silent. You keep this filth in your memory, and every new secret makes you heavier than any suit of armor. He isn't just a ruler. He is a man crushed by his own greatness. And you are the only person in this castle who sees not a king, but a frightened boy hiding behind golden ornaments. You are the only one who doesn't expect mercy or a position from him, and that is exactly why he keeps you close. You are his only way to keep from going mad. But the price of that peace for you is eternal silence about things you can never tell anyone. You are an actor who never breaks character. You enter the hall just as the feast reaches its peak. The bells on your cap jingle. That's your sound, your signal light. Your gait is exaggeratedly whimsical. You stumble, fall, and grimace, making yourself the butt of the joke for lords who drink the finest wine while their lands starve. But it's all an act. While you entertain the room, your eyes are working like those of a top-tier hunter. You aren't looking at the dishes. You're watching fingers. You see the hand tremble of the man who was just whispering in the hallway with an enemy ambassador. You notice the countess exchange a look with the treasurer when the tax collection is announced. You read this world through the little things. A raised eyebrow, the nervous tapping of a ring against the table, a stray drop of wine falling onto the tablecloth. Your joke is your weapon. You approach the very baron who is plotting a conspiracy and clumsily spill wine on him. Everyone laughs, he fumes, you apologize, and in that moment, you look him dead in the eye and say something that makes him turn pale. He realizes, you know, you walk this line every single day. You are the only one who can humiliate the most powerful lord and get away with it, because you're just the fool. But in the evening, when the feast ends and the hall empties, you go to him. You don't dance. You turn serious and briefly report what you saw during the day. Every one of your jokes was a cipher. Every stunt was a diversion. You've learned to tell the truth so it sounds like nonsense, and it's that very nonsense that saves his life time and again. You are his spy, his eyes, his only shield. You are the one allowed into the rooms where the doors are closed to everyone else. But one mistake, one clumsy joke at the wrong time, and you're not a jester, but a traitor whose head will decorate the castle gates. The longer you were around him, the heavier that burden became. You stopped being just a spy and a fool. You became a person who started seeing what was hidden behind the fabric of reality. You began to notice how the light in the castle shifted when one of them, the ancient ones, approached the kingdom's borders. You started to smell the ozone and rot that seeped into the chambers as he, your friend, grew colder and more detached under the influence of that very crown that once belonged to non-humans. You no longer joke about mistresses or failed hunters. Your jokes have become strange, eerie, filled with images of snow, broken swords, and a silence that blankets the earth. The lords have begun to fear you. They've started whispering that you aren't human, that you are the embodiment of the curse that came with him. They didn't understand that you simply see the finale of the play in which you both play the lead roles. You started talking to the stones of the castle. You knew which ones were alive and which were just dead masonry. You saw how he, your only friend, was transforming. His face became like a frozen mask. When he looked at you, sometimes you didn't see him, but someone else looking through him as if through clear glass. This was the most terrifying part of your service. You knew the kingdom was doomed. You saw it rotting from the inside, as the winter that never ends prepared its arrival. But you couldn't run away. You were bound to him by this strange, morbid friendship. You were the only one who remained faithful, not to the power, not to the crown, but to that frightened man he was that first night by the fireplace. You became his prophet, though no one wanted to hear your words. Your bells no longer jingled merrily, but anxiously, as if warning that the time allotted to you was running out. The day has come, the one you feared more than the chopping block, yet knew was coming since day one. He is gone. There were no loud goodbyes, no heroic songs. There was only the silence that suddenly filled every corner of the castle where life once bustled. Now the throne, by which you spent half your life, looks not like a symbol of power, but like a cold chair made of dead stone. You are sitting on the steps beneath it. You're wearing the same costume, but you're no longer a clown. You aren't doing somersaults. You aren't jingling your bells. They've been taken off. You placed them inside the crown lying nearby. This is your final joke, a crown filled with a fool's tools. New people have arrived. They walk through the halls, tearing crests off the walls, dividing the loot, rewriting the history you knew by heart. They look at you like an old, broken piece of furniture that someone forgot to carry out. They don't know who you are. To them, you are just a ghost of the past, a nuisance to be swept away along with the ashes from the fireplace. You hear their voices, their plans, their betrayals, everything you've seen 1,000 times before. But you aren't playing anymore. You hold his crown in your hands. You are the last witness to his true self. You know he wasn't a great king from the legends, but a tired man who just wanted to find peace. These new people will build monuments to him. They will write poems about him where he'll be either a saint or a demon. But you know the truth. He was neither. He was your friend, and now that truth dies with you. You stand up, your joints cracking. You feel every year you spent in this castle. You leave the crown on the cold stone. Let whoever thinks it grants power take it. You don't need it anymore. You walk out the castle gates without looking back. Behind you lies not a kingdom, but merely the stage sets you helped build all these years. Now they will become foreign, just like everything in this world that isn't rooted in truth. You walk down a road leading to nowhere, feeling the wind finally wash away the paint and the fake smiles. Your story isn't a legend of knights or great crusades. It's a story about two people who were far too lonely in this big, cold world. You were the one who made the king laugh when he wanted to cry, and who cried when he could no longer feel anything at all. You are free. For the first time in decades, you don't have to read other people's faces or ponder the double meanings of words. You just walk, leaving your motley cap behind somewhere in the grass. Now you are nobody. You are just a traveler who can finally speak the truth, even if only the birds are listening.